The life and career of the great African-American jockey Isaac Burns Murphy. Isaac Murphy was born a free man. His father was killed in service when he was younger, so it was just him and his mom growing up. They moved to Lexington, Kentucky to live with his grandfather when Murphy was 10 for work reasons for his mother. Murphy was a good candidate for becoming a jockey because of his small size, even at age 12. It took a small frame and person to become a jockey. The horse keeper at the racing stables his mother worked at noticed that and took Isaac in for training. He began to train and teach Isaac the ways of becoming a jockey. At age 13, Murphy began his training and started to develop and learn his own style of racing. For instance, Murphy was a hand rider instead of a whip rider, which means he wouldn't have a whip in his hand to make the horse accelerate or tell the horse what to do. He would simply talk to the horse and guide it with his hands and feet. This type of method wasn't as common amongst the other jockeys, who at the time were primarily African American, which was because of the amount of work they did with the horses at the stables. It gave them the experience since they were the ones who were on them the most. It didn't take Murphy long to show the other riders his skill. He won his first Kentucky Derby in 1884, and then shortly after that he made history by becoming the first to win that Kentucky Derby back-to-back years, which he did so in 1890 and 1891. These three Derby wins are just a small portion of the miraculous things that Murphy was able to achieve. At the time, the Kentucky Derby was not what it is today as far as popularity goes. It was still a big race to win, though. The more popular race at the time was the American Derby, which we would consider the modern-day version of the Kentucky Derby now. Murphy won that race 4 separate times, as well as winning the Latona Derby 5 times. This type of dominance that Murphy showed made it evident to the world and the other riders especially that Murphy was a top contender in horse racing, making him a pretty big threat to the other jockeys. His skin color didn't help him achieve popularity amongst the other white jockeys either. Throughout his career, Murphy dealt with hatred and racist acts from the other jockeys. There were many attempts made to get rid of Murphy from the other riders. From accusing him of being drunk to ganging up on him, the jockeys did everything that they could think to remove him from horse racing. Eventually, after many numerous accusations against Murphy for being drunk while riding, he was banned for the remainder of the season. This happened when he fell off his horse after a race that he should have won easily at a track called Monmouth. After these events occurred and all these press releases were going out in the newspaper, this really changed his career. From this point on, he started to lose races he shouldn't have, wasn't winning as much, and his career just really started to decline. So it was after this that he wanted to get out of the horse racing industry and he retired. The way that he went out of the horse racing business was probably not what he wanted, but what he was able to complete while he was racing was. It was documented that out of the 628 races that he mounted, he won 44% of them. That stat is truly remarkable and still one that in horse racing remains to this day. His greatness to not only his sport, but to what he did for the African American population with the sport world and the real world. There are many different books, poems, and memorials in his name. For instance, the Isaac Murphy Memorial Art Garden, which is still a work in progress today, is a big garden and park area that serves as a memorial to him and to what he did for horse racing. That written about him not only explain and tell his career, they talk about the impact that he had on the sport. Murphy's career was during a time when there wasn't the type of technology we have today, which is why there isn't too much video evidence of his race winnings. There wasn't too much to obtain from his career, but something that he was able to leave behind that is notable today are some of his quotes and other pieces of antiques that were either made during the 1890s or pieces that were his own belongings. In 1896, at the young age of 35, Murphy died of pneumonia. In honor of him, Murphy's gravesite was changed to relocate him back to Lexington, Kentucky. This is now the spot where he rests and also the spot of the Kentucky Horse National Park, also known as the National Horse Center. Unfortunately, Murphy was not alive long enough to see the growth and change that started to appear in thoroughbred racing, but it is thanks to him and his greatness as a jockey that things are the way they are.